Here we go. Good ball. Lifts it up to the far post. Barrera spills. It's in! Goal! Oh, Canada! Oh, baby! And Edmonton has come alive!
Cold, snow. Canada has taken advantage of this weather in Edmonton for the World Cup qualifying. And to get the scoop, we've reached Chris Jones, CBC Sports senior contributor in Edmonton. Okay, Chris, right off the bat, you're in Edmonton. You were there for the game against Costa Rica. What was it like, the atmosphere? What are you also anticipating against Mexico?
The atmosphere was actually the best I've experienced at a Canadian men's soccer game. It was super festive, super fun. It was chilly, but not too cold. People seemed to be really into it. Like the crowd was almost 49,000, which is the third largest in the men's program's history. And it seemed like everyone just had a good time. Like it was really sort of like a super fun, festive experience. I think tomorrow is the weather forecast is dire. So I was talking to some local friends and they're going, but they're bundling up, and hopefully the crowd is just as boisterous, if not more, for Mexico.
Well, we should say dire. I mean, it's snowing, and a couple of the Mexican journalists have been putting out photos on social media today. Let's talk about the advantage of CONCACAF. I mean, we use CONCACAF as a verb sometimes. You've been CONCACAF'd. Has Canada been guilty of maybe not taking advantage of this over the last 35 years?
I don't think they've been guilty of it. I mean, they haven't really had the opportunity. Soccer here was always such a secondary sport. I mean, for years, Canada played in Edmonton in front of a fairly empty stadium rather than play in Toronto, say, where, the home crowd might be against them. I mean, I went to a game at Varsity Stadium in 1992, Scotland, a friendly against Scotland, and that stadium was blue. I mean, there weren't any Canadian fans in the place. And so Canada would retreat to Edmonton as like a safe haven. They'd rather be in an empty stadium that's neutral as opposed to a home stadium that was against them. So I don't think they've had the opportunity. I think this is one of the first cycles where Canada's been able to really take advantage of things. And the combination of the weather and the distance, Mexico are coming off a really tough loss against the Americans in Cincinnati. I mean, they weren't even here yesterday. I think they're getting in today when this blizzard is supposed to arrive. So, I mean, Canada's done everything they can. This is I would say one of the top 3 CONCACAF things Canada has attempted.
When people think of Edmonton, automatically it's the city of champions, 5 Stanley Cups, 14 Grey Cups. But soccer, a little bit below the radar, though it does start to be changing.
Yeah, I think the real turning point was the Women's World Cup. There was a game here in 2015. Canada played China. Really tight game. Canada won late on a penalty. Christine Sinclair scored. John Herdman, the men's coach, was the women's coach at the time. And he talked about the sound, in that stadium, the roar in that stadium when Christine scored. And that's unusual, in Canada's soccer history to have that kind of home support. It's amazing. So I get why they came here. I get it. I don't think it's just the weather. I think it's the gate. Like, to get almost 50,000 people at a game is pretty incredible. And so if you combine all the factors, Edmonton's a great place to play. To cover the Canadian team in Edmonton on a cold, snowy night for the CBC might be the most Canadian I've ever been. And I'm really, really excited for it.
Enjoy the Canadian moment Tuesday night. Chris Jones, senior contributor for CBC Sports. So glad to have you on board and so glad for this chat today.
Thanks, Signa. Thanks so much.